The POCO F2 Pro. It's powerfully cool. Before we get into the cool part, let's start with power. Yes, the Qualcomm Snapdragon 865, the leading flagship processor right now. It has the ability to run super smooth and optimize power use. Now, to pair with such an amazing processor, we had to also match up in the RAM technology and the flash storage. We have the LPDDR5 RAM technology. Loading times are greatly improved because of the UFS 3.1. With the best processor, best RAM, and best storage, the POCO F2 Pro's performance is next level. Here are some of the CPU scores going up against the Samsung S20 Plus. We scored an Antutu CPU benchmark of 184,817. And in GPU, we ran a comparison test on the GFX Bench Manhattan 4.0, where we scored 25% higher than the Exynos 990. We also compared ourselves to a recently launched flagship, the OnePlus 8 Pro. It also has a Snapdragon 865, where we scored 3% higher than the OnePlus 8 Pro. And in GPU, both devices were maxed out on the highest score. But what about overall Antutu score? A total score of 589,983. We all know sometimes the flagship speed can get the phone pretty hot. And let's take a look at where it gets hot. The 5 core hotspots is located at the F2 Pro, at camera, the radio frequency chip, the charging chipset, the processor, and the 5G modem. After identifying the hotspots, we had to make sure we can detect where the heat is actually spreading. So we installed 10 heat sensors, covering most of the area where the heat is coming from. Then we solve it with 3 different components. A multi-layer graphite, covering most of the battery and the motherboard. A graphene covering the CPU and 5G chipset. Then the coolest part, a supersized VC to do most of the cooling work. This is actually how our VC spreads heat, in more than one direction, whereas a typical VC actually only disperses heat in one direction, making it a lot less efficient. But today, I'm actually going to show you 3 disassembled devices, including the POCO F2 Pro. So let's go take a look at the inside. As you can see, in the middle, this is the POCO F2 Pro supersized VC. For the S20 Plus, they have it placed near the top. For the OnePlus 8 Pro, they also have it near the top. We also did a frame rate comparison test with the Samsung S20 Plus and the OnePlus 8 Pro. In this test, we tested for average frame rate and janks. Janks is actually the amount of times the frame rate has dropped from the highest possible frame rate, which is 60 in this case. So the POCO F2 Pro averaged a 56.62 frame rate per second. But what actually matters here are the janks number, and we're the lowest by quite a bit margin. We have a 180 Hz touch sampling rate. Paired with it, we also have a very good Z-axis linear motor. The feedback is super satisfying. It's a flagship level haptic. The POCO F2 Pro, one of the few phones on the market that has 2 Rylan high gaming performance certification. Paired with 5G, you must think it could drain the battery a lot. Which is why, for the POCO F2 Pro, we put in a massive 4,700 mAh battery. On a single charge, you could do a lot. And in case you do run out of juice, we have a 30-watt fast charging, and that's a flagship level fast charge. 63 minutes to 100%. You'll be charged up in no time. Powering all these amazing performance, we have a 4,700 mAh battery. And if we look at the comparison chart on performance only, overall against the OnePlus 8 Pro and the Samsung S20 Plus, for our true full-screen display, we have a 6.667-inch True AMOLED, a 92.7% screen-to-body ratio. And when it comes to brightness, the POCO F2 Pro has a 5 million to 1 high contrast ratio, 800 nits on high brightness mode, and reaches up to 1,200 nits on maximum brightness. Besides very high brightness, we make sure you also get the perfect brightness. We added 3 light sensors that can detect the light environment around you. And for our screen, we have HDR10 Plus certification. We're also Widevine L1 certified. You can watch HD in multiple platforms, such as YouTube, Netflix, Amazon Prime, and many others. But we also want to make sure our users' eyes are taken care of, which is why the POCO F2 Pro also passed the TÜV Rheinland Global Eye Care certification. And because we're an AMOLED screen, we also have an in-screen fingerprint reader. Once you unlock the device, you'll see that the POCO F2 Pro will be running the latest Android 10 OS. And onto my favorite feature of the phone. Yes, we still have POCO Launcher 2.0. So POCO Launcher 2.0, you can get it on Google Play. I know you guys have been waiting for so long to see the F2 Pro, and I won't hide it any longer. The POCO F2 Pro in Cyber Gray. It's absolutely beautiful, isn't it? It's sleek, it's eye-catching. And this is what I'm talking about. Some forgotten conveniences that flagship phones used to have. The IR blaster, the NFC, and most importantly, the headphone jack. Here are the 4 other color variants: the neon blue, the phantom white, the electric purple, and the cyber gray that you've already seen. For the cyber gray, it's a bit glossy but mostly matte. And for the phantom white, it's quite glossy but it stands out super well. So to sum up design, a lot of our decisions made here were because we want to make sure we could offer an unforgettable look and feel experience. Quad camera in 2020 has been the norm, and it's no different for the POCO F2 Pro. The Sony IMX686 produces stunning image quality with precise colors and very rich details. Let's take a look at some samples. You see, this is actually a peak of a snow mountain. But the full image, you can capture it ultra clear with sharp details. And this particular image was actually shot near Sichuan, China. Night Mode 2.0. This is a flagship level low light performance for the F2 Pro. With a 123-degree sensor, you can capture an incredible amount of color, shadow, and details. For our friends over the stream, do you have an idea what this is? And then I actually found out it's actually a beautiful betta fish. Isn't that shocking? We're capturing the beauty from like another world. We went to the moon. Actually, no, we didn't. We actually just took a black and white photo of a telemacro shot that was shot on a piece of bread. But if you use a telemacro lens, you actually take a closer look and you could see something very, very different. Now, let's take a look at how the telemacro photo on the F2 Pro works. So the marble actually becomes some sort of planet, actually. Maybe Planet POCO. And then we can just take a photo, and you have something completely different. So much color and so much details. This is the POCO F2 Pro's telemacro lens. And moving on to flagship videography. Of course, we talk about 8K. Let's take a look. Such as portrait mode, pro mode, and video stabilization. A lot of different features to meet your needs. And let's talk about the front camera. It's actually a pop-up camera, and it's 20 megapixels. The other day at the office, we took a slow motion selfies with our colleague and pranked him. Let's take a look. So for the POCO F2 Pro's camera, we have the Sony IMX686, ultra wide angle, night mode 2.0, a telemacro camera. For video, we have 8K, portrait mode, slow motion selfies, pro mode, and video stabilization. What makes us different from a flagship phone? It's our flagship killer price. For our first option, 6GB plus 128GB option, we have the price of 499 euros. That's an amazing price. And this is a definition of worth. For the 8GB and 256GB option, we also have an amazing price, starting at 599 euros. Now we can go back to the chart and see the numbers all over again. So here it is in summary. The POCO F2 Pro, powerfully cool. Starting at 499 euros and 599 euros in 4 very cool colors. So choose yours. And global availability starts today on Gearbest and AliExpress. And we have more channels coming. On POCO.net, Amazon, Lazada, Shopee, JD Central, and even more channels, where we will announce very, very soon. I know summer is coming, so stay cool, stay safe. Thank you very much. Till next time.